Kishor. Welcome to the Print Dialogues. We're here, I think, just for people who are watching, recording this before the exit polls, before the results, but after campaigning has ended. So we have an idea what the campaign is like, and I'm hoping today to discuss what the post-election scenario will be like. Prashant, do you stick to that old prediction you made, which was what, 304 or 303 or something?
Well, Veer, as you know, people like me, we are not in this game of predicting the election or
Sure.
calling the election. But it so happened that much before election is started, almost 3, 4 months before, when I was in Bihar and completely immersed, buried in the bushes of Bihar, doing what I've been doing last 2 years, that is Jan Suraj. Few journalists met, and obviously, beyond Jan Suraj, they would have their interest in who is going to win Indian election, etc., etc. And in that context, whatever little understanding we have, I have said that to my mind, more or less, BJP is going to come back with a similar or slightly better majority. And I have also given the
Okay.
reason why I say so is because in our assessment in West and Northern India, where BJP has drawn bulk of their seats in both in 2014 and 2019, I do not see BJP taking a material hit in terms of seat. And when I say material, there is a lot of questioning around that. What constitutes material? And I say, material is a number which you cannot make it up in any other reason. So, in our understanding, it's about 50 odd seat. If BJP were to lose 50 plus seat in North and West, from where they won close to 250 seat, there is no way they could have made it up in East
Yeah.
and South. But in my assessment, BJP is not losing that many seats in West and North. And on top of it, they have adequate cover in terms of increasing vote share as well as the number of seats in East and Southern India. When I call East and Southern India, it's not technically East and South, but it's basically bifurcating India in two parts, North and West, where BJP is very strong, has been strong of late, and East and South, where they have been relatively either second player or not even a relevant player. So when I say East and South, I include states like Bihar, West Bengal, Assam, Odisha, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, and Kerala. Put together roughly about 220 odd seats, where BJP till now, despite their performance, relatively better performance in Bengal and Bihar, have been able to get less than 50 seats. This time, I see them increasing that tally cumulatively. I'm not talking about a state-specific prediction, but East and South BJP, in all likelihood, is going to increase their seat as well as vote share. And hence, I said that by and large, they're going to come back with the same numbers or maybe even slightly better if the damage in West and South is not that significant.
Okay. You've now seen the campaign because you made these predictions a while ago. Have you seen any reason to change your mind?
No, not really. See, again, this point also I have highlighted. A lot of people who have covered the campaign and have found some reason that there is a chatter against Mr. Modi, or there is a lot of dissent on the ground. My point to them has been that this dissent was always there. Last 2, 3 years, people who took the trouble to go to the countryside, go to the rural India, would have always seen this dissent, be it form of high unemployment, rural distress, stagnation of rural wages, and ever-growing inequality. Some of these things has been there, and it's just that the Delhi media, and I dare say some analysts and commentators as well, in run up to these elections, they were living in with this understanding that there is no dissent left in the country. Everybody is happy. Everybody just waiting to just vote for Mr. Modi. So what has happened is, when during the election, as the elections were announced, and some of these individuals were literally forced by the event to go and cover, all of a sudden they have found that, oh, there are people who are not necessarily talking in good terms for Mr. Modi. So they have, it is, say, it's right, it's basically the baseline effect. When you move from Delhi and thinking that, oh, just I have to test whether BJP is going to get 400 or not, whether everybody is going to say, good things about Mr. Modi or not, and you meet some people who are not necessarily talking good things about BJP and Modi, then you feel, oh my God, there is something which I'm missing. And so you try to adjust the number. The reality has been that if you look at the 2019 data, where people say that there has been a wave for Modi, especially after Pulwama, 38% BJP polled 38% vote. Now, in mathematical, commonsensical term, what it means, out of 10 people who was out there who went to vote, less than four people voted for BJP. Now, if you go as an observer or commentator or a journalist on in any part of India, you're more likely to meet people who are talking against government, because you're talking about 6 out of 10. So the simple probability will tell you that anybody who has gone there is likely to meet more people against government, against Mr. Modi. But the important thing is, for you or me or for those who are trying to assess, are we to say that more than 7 or 8 out of 10 people are against talking about BJP or Mr. Modi? Most people who have gone to the field, they have said no. So that is another assessment basis which I have said no, I don't see this government going away anywhere. Yes, there is a dent in the brand Modi. There is definitely a chatter against many things which they have done or they haven't been able to do. But in absence of a strong and organized opposition, I don't think they have a risk of losing the election. It is the match which opposition is to lose rather than BJP to win.
Okay, so you mentioned many factors: inequality, unemployment, etc. And yet you said they will do pretty much as well as they did last time. So why is it that despite this level of discontent, they're not likely to lose that many seats?
Two factors, Beer. First, in North and West, they're up against primarily four key political opponents. One is Congress, which everyone talks and we know about it. But other than Congress, sometimes we miss that if BJP were to lose seats in North and West, they have to, SP has to do well in UP, RJD has to do well in Bihar, and Sharad Pawar's party NCP has to do well in in Maharashtra. So what has happened if you look at data closely in 2014 and 2019, all these four parties, Congress, NCP, Samajwadi Party and RJD, put together, they are up against BJP in roughly about 350 odd seat. Their strike rate has been in single digit. Not only Congress, lot of time we talk about Congress strike rate being in single digit. I believe last time it was 9% against BJP. But if you look at Samajwadi Party strike rate against BJP, in 2014, they won only 5 out of 80 constituency in UP. In 2019, even though they were fighting with BSP in UP, they won only 5 MPs. And similar has been the case with NCP. So until and unless these four political parties, namely Congress, SP, RJD, and NCP, they would have mounted a challenge where they would have improved their strike rate at least to 30-40%. There is no way BJP could have lost the election, despite the anger, despite what all we are saying. And on top of it, the BJP is gaining some votes here and seat in East and South, where probably people have not tested them. So there is an inbuilt anti-incumbency, say, for example, against BJD in Odisha. There they are benefiting from the anti-incumbency against the incumbent who is there for last 20-25 years. Similar is the case in West Bengal against TMC. And they have spread their wings in Telangana. They have done a good alliance in Andhra. And Tamil Nadu and Kerala, they have been, last 10 years, they have been out there making all effort to at least increase the vote share. So what I'm saying is, in the area where they are up against these four formidable, relatively stronger opposition parties, these four opposition parties have not been able to change their tactics, their approach, their leadership. They are still fighting the elections as they were fighting in 2014. And to cover whatever little damage BJP might get in West and South, they have expanded in areas in West and South where they are benefiting from long incumbent governments like BJD and TMC.
Okay, let me now take you through the campaign. A lot of people believe that some panic had settled into the BJP after the first and second round when they looked at turnout figures and there was a change of strategy. You've seen this, Mr. Modi, up close campaigning. Is that your assessment as well?
See, unlike many commentators, and I've said this in some of my earlier interviews as well, I do not see there is a great deal of novelty in what Mr. Modi's quote unquote change of style. Veer, you have been long enough the journalist covering political leaders, and Mr. Modi, you would have watched in all his campaigns, this Hindu Muslim, the tone and texture, the word could be little different, but in all his campaign, but for exception of 2014 national general election, he has used this as a key lever to galvanize his own cadre supporters. So I do not necessarily see this dramatic change, which people are, kind of adding 2+2, that it is because of the lower voter turnout and Mr. Modi was up for surprise. Maybe little bit of turbulence they would have felt, because like, as I said, like other commentators, journalists, analysts, they also went in this with this thought of euphoric support, which was not there. So obviously, when the euphoric support was not there, they would have felt a little bit of turbulence. But maybe for that reason, they would have used the what one would call tried and tested methods to galvanize their cadre. But I think, in my own assessment, it has been largely to do with charging up their own cadre, who probably got a bit complacent with this 400 par nara, that everyone thought that it's just, there is no fight left. We just have to go and complete this formality called election and come back and take oath. So the tone and texture of what many are calling the change of strategy on part of Mr. Modi, I would say, is not that significant, and we shouldn't draw too many conclusions from that with the possible outcome of the elections.
Two questions coming out of that. The first is, right, except for that one election where he came to national prominence 10 years ago, there's always been a Hindu-Muslim element to his politics. But the suggestion is it's been much more coded than it is now. It's much more open. Stuff like they'll take your Mangal Sutras, take buffaloes, they'll give them to Muslims. It's more in your face than before. Do you accept that?
Again, it depends on who you are talking to. If you ask my honest opinion, this Mangal Sutra and all was done immediately after the first phase of elections. After that, it has been largely about reservation, because opposition narrative, to the credit to opposition with this 400 par, one thing that did get some traction was that if they get 400, they will change the constitution. And some of the, I would say, senior or not so senior BJP leaders, in their exuberance, I would say, or it was their mistake. At the beginning of election, they started talking about possibility of changing constitution and all. That opposition was successful in linking it with reservation. So if you see Mr. Modi's, beyond the this Mangal Sutra comment and bias and your property and all those things, what he said immediately post first round of elections, by and large that has replaced with Muslim reservations, taking reservations of OBC and giving it to Muslims, because, and I see that as a counter to what opposition has been telling, that if Mr. Modi and BJP wins big this time, they will take away the reservation of OBC and Dalits. And to counter that, BJP used probably this strategy. So no, I do not necessarily see. In Bihar, he has used the same language. If you remember, in 2015, exactly
Hmm.
this reservation bogey was raised because I believe, if my memory serves me well, Mr. Bhagwat made a statement about reservation, and the opposition party made a hue and cry that they are trying to change the reservation. To counter that, Mr. Modi, I remember coming to Bihar and saying the same thing, that these guys are trying to give Muslims reservation, which I would not allow. So no, I do not necessarily see it. See, he is a prime minister, so naturally when he uses these terms, uh, it is noticed, observed, written about more, I would say, closely than what it would have been when he was a chief minister in Gujarat, or say before that he was working for BJP as an organization secretary, etc. So it has to do with the position he holds rather than the person who he is.
Okay. In 2014, that's my second question. 2014, you worked quite closely with them when they had that successful campaign. Having seen them up close, what is your view? Is all this stuff about Muslims and the threat to Hindus electoral rhetoric, or do they actually believe this?
Well, somewhere ideologically it is rooted, some of their ideological positioning is rooted in this belief that which one would they would like to call the Hindu supremacy. So we cannot completely discard it as rhetoric. It has got, it is deeply rooted in the Sangh's ideology and what they believe in. So no, I wouldn't call it simply the rhetoric.
Okay. We said we would talk about post election scenarios. One question, assuming for the purpose of this conversation that you're right, they're going to win a majority, they will form the government. Once you said these kind of things about Muslims, how are you going to rule India with 12% of the population billing you them as the other? Is this a way to ensure some kind of equitable governance in the third term, or is there a problem?
Uh, Again, if we look at the journey of Mr. Modi, he is quite capable of changing gears. So during elections, his tone and his, the texture of his communication is very different than when he wins the election. And if you pay attention, sometimes when he has been speaking about one nation, one election, in support of that argument, he says that as a prime minister, I feel very uncomfortable when I have to go when I have to go and attack the chief minister of a state, and that's why there should not be election all through 5 years. So that shows that these guys operate in a very different mindset when they are fighting elections versus when they are ruling the country. So no, I do not see any dramatic change in his approach or conduct as a prime minister than what we have seen vis-a-vis Muslims.
Okay. You've seen how they campaign normally. Does this campaign strike you as being entirely Mr. Modi's idea, or do you detect the hand of Amit Shah?
I would say it's largely, see, now in last 10 years, it's very difficult to segregate what is Mr. Modi's campaign and how much that campaign has role of Mr. Amit Shah. So to be, on a safer side, I would say the campaign sees, one can see the imprint of both. But Mr. Modi has led from the front, no doubt about it. This is not something which where he is just he has been a key executioner. I would say yes, it has been. He would have been the mind as well as the voice and the face.
Okay. Now let's take this forward. Assume, for the purpose again of this conversation, that you're right. They get a majority. Mr. Modi is sworn in for a third term. You're saying that the Muslim alienation will not necessarily be a problem because he will behave differently once he is in office. But you're also saying that the brand is breaking. So, what are we going to see in the third term? How stable is he going to be? Are we going to still see this kind of imperial prime minister, master of everything he surveys, or will there be problems?
Well, first of all, I didn't say that there wouldn't be Muslim alienation. I said there wouldn't be dramatic change
Okay,
vis-a-vis
I can see the
Muslims
point enough.
versus what we have seen in last 10 years. And there is a degree of alienation as far as Muslims or minorities are concerned. So that I see is a problem area that continues.
Yeah.
Once he comes back in the third term, I see the major risk areas would be the pace of centralization of power and resources is only going to accelerate. तो अभी हम लोग देखेंगे कि केंद्र और मजबूत शक्तिशाली हो गया. We
Hmm.
would have a center which is far more powerful than what probably India has seen in last 20-25 years. And that naturally would have bearing on democracy as a whole, but more importantly on the autonomy of the states, autonomy and functioning of some of the key institutions, be it election commission, Supreme Court, press, etc. But just to take elaborate a point, for example, I see once he comes back to the power, the state would have lesser leverage, financial leverage than what they have today or what they have been in last 10 years. There will be further curtailment of a state's power to tax and decide how the money that they get from center they are going to spend. So there will be a greater degree of centralization of both power and resources. I definitely see some big bang announcement on like UCC and implementation, more aggressive implementation of CAA, especially given that Bengal would be one of the major elections coming up in next 2 years. I also see somewhat unconventional or more aggressive foreign policy on part of India, which we are already seeing signs of in last couple of years. Uh, Whether it's right or wrong, only time will tell. But I see and I hear from a lot of diplomats, both in India and outside, that the aggressiveness what they are observing in Indian foreign policy and the way we are handling some of the issues, as we are all aware what happened in Canada, and some of those issues I would see getting more prominent. The talk and chatter about 2047 and 1,000 years, those things will only become louder. But at the same time, I have said, and I dare make this prediction, that in next 5 years we would also see a lot more resistance and I would say agitation on the part of the people, on part of people, because some of the issues are real, and whether opposition parties are able to make use of it or not, that's a different story. But issues are not going away anywhere. So unemployment, for example, is not going away. Rural distress is not going away. The farmers' problem is not going away. The growing inequality is not going away. So I see in next 4-5 years there will be many more number of street protest of various kinds, nature, and scale. And I just want to remind your viewers that many a times we think that how are you saying that he's going to come back with thumping majority and still more dissent and agitations. People need have just forgotten that in 1971 Indira Gandhi came with a massive majority, and by 1973 half of India was on the street fighting and agitating against her. So I see unless the in new term Mr. Modi makes dramatic interventions or corrections as far as rural economy is concerned, I see growing number of dissent and agitations against government in coming months and years.
I was having given the parallel of Mrs. Gandhi in 73 and then 74 because Bihar was quite crucial to what happened to her during those days, as were students and young people, not just rural distress, people who couldn't find jobs, people who went out on the street. One scenario is that yes, he will win, yes, he will try and centralize power, but ultimately you can jail opposition leaders or you can rate them. But what do you do if there are big demonstrations? To what extent can you control them? And just as happened with Mrs. Gandhi, who had also a weak opposition, it was the streets that took over. Is there a chance of that happening?
Absolutely, and I've been saying this. I know a lot of people would not like to hear this, but I have no doubt in my mind, basis what I see on the ground, that and weaker opposition is only going to give fillip to the public agitation and protest, not the other way around. Because people are, if people are in problem, if opposition parties would have been stronger and if they would have been able to provide an alternative, probably that would have been a way out for those dissenting voices. But if people don't see any way out coming from opposition rank and file, many such people or groups might take things in their hand, and that would result into agitations of various kinds and forms and scale uh, in many parts of India. It's a real possibility. I'm sure serious observers of politics would take notice of it, because again we can't highlight this enough. The some of the problems what people have seen, observed, and are talking about during these elections, like unemployment, like rural distress, is very very real issue. It's a sitting time bomb. You cannot just look away or wish away these issues, no matter how many number of seats you win in these elections.
Do you think Mr. Modi is aware of that? Do you think all this Hindu Muslim stuff is not really going to be an effective diversion in the long run?
No, not really, because Hindu Muslim thing can probably help him or help BJP to galvanize their support, which already they probably have maxed out. I would say this purely on Hindu Muslim thing, the support is almost maxed out. I said this in January, be it in an Indian Express program, when the whole country was thinking that there is an euphoria around Ram Mandir. I put my neck on the line, and I said that Ram Mandir is not an issue, is not going to give them a single incremental vote. And now most people, with the benefit of hindsight, I can say that I could see that. Now most people are saying that there is no Ram Mandir Leher, as BJP or they were expecting. Ram Mandir, if anything, it just galvanized their own supporters, their own cadre. They have been the voters of BJP. It did not, and it was not to give any incremental vote. Similarly, on this Hindu Muslim thing, I do not see a dramatic increase in number of voters or support groups for BJP. In long run, I don't know, but in next, say, 5 to 10 years, data is very clear. Almost half of Hindus are already voting for BJP, and I would say two-thirds of them, one could attribute something to do with BJP's version of Hindutva, their alignment with BJP's version of Hindutva. But beyond this, I do not see further consolidation of Hindus in favor of BJP's Hindutva in a hurry, because what is left are the remaining Hindus who are not necessarily convinced about BJP's version of Hindutva. And I always say that if you look at the Hindus who are not voting for BJP, they are primarily followers of four ideology. Those Hindus who are believers of Mahatma Gandhi, they are not convinced with the BJP version of Hindutva, and they are not voting for BJP. The Hindus who are uh, 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 identifying themselves as Ambedkarites, the followers of Baba Sahib Ambedkar, they are also not convinced with the BJP version of Hindutva. They are not voting for BJP. Similarly, those who believe in communist ideology, they are not voting for BJP, no matter which caste they belong to. And whatever little remains are there for socialists, those who are the followers of JP and Lohia, they are also not voting for BJP. So the followers of these four ideology, Gandhi, Ambedkar, communists, and socialists, they are not voting for BJP, and I do not see them or a bulk of them or significant chunk of them changing in a hurry and getting themselves aligned with BJP. It may happen in long run if BJP and their ideology goes unchallenged, but it's a very difficult thing. It has taken decades for BJP to consolidate 50% Hindus. I don't think they can take it to 60 or 70% in a hurry. So in absence of that, I do not see Hindu Muslim issue per se going to give BJP a very significant incremental vote.
Okay. You talked about four categories of Hindus who believe in things who won't vote for the BJP. But there is another category also, isn't there? There are Hindus in South India, just like Tamil Nadu and in Kerala, who will not vote for the BJP and haven't so far. Will that change?
Well, this is my way of. I have been studying that who all are not voting for BJP. Some people apply the lens of caste, that which caste is more like, which caste of Hindus are more likely to vote for BJP versus those who are not going to vote. There are some people, like you said, who make this distinction basis geography. But to my mind, geography and caste is largely function of outreach that BJP would have done or haven't done. Say, for example, take Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu, one can say that Hindus have been not voting for BJP, but then BJP has not made that kind of concerted outreach to the Hindus of Tamil Nadu. Now, last 5 years, as BJP has upped the game, they have started investing in building organization, being more visible. Uh, we are seeing that more and more Hindus are voting for, or probably are going to vote for BJP. I would still say that the best way to gauge where the Hindu society is going vis-a-vis their electoral preference or ideological preference is this ideological lens. That these are the four ideological pillars, followers of which, whether they are in Bihar or UP or Tamil Nadu or Maharashtra, they are less likely to go for BJP than any other parameters we might use.
For the purpose of argument, or we've been discussing throughout based on the assumption that you're right, that the BJP will get a majority. Supposing you've got it slightly wrong, supposing they're the largest single party, but not in a majority, do you think it'll be easy for them, A, to get allies, and B, for Mr. Modi to run a coalition government?
Well, again, I have said this 4 or 5 months back, and to my surprise, I would say a few days back, Prime Minister repeated the same line that when he stood up in Parliament, and I think in the month of December or January, he said that this time BJP is going to get 370 and NDA 400 plus. Uh, I think he would know very well that it's not within the realm of possibility. But by making that statement, he smartly moved the whole agenda, where everyone, all of us, have started talking about whether he's going to get 370, 400 or not. Nobody has been talking about 270. And I saw him laughing in an interview a few days back that उनको पता ही नहीं चला कि मैं उनको कहाँ लेकर जा रहा हूँ. And people like us, we have been telling this since January, that why are we talking about 370 and 400? If you are talking about whether BJP is going to get 370 or 400 or not, you are actually propagating and getting into the propaganda of Mr. Modi or BJP. The real question is whether they are going to get 270 or not, 272 or not, because government constitutionally, to form a government, you need 272. You don't need 370. And coming back to your question, if they get less than 272, make no mistake, even if they get 250 or 240 or 260, they will not blink for 1 minute before claiming to form the government, and they will try every means to form the government, and probably they will go on to form the government. We know BJP, they have been forming government in states where they have been in minority, have been thoroughly rejected by people. They have used all the means to, to literally hijack the people's mandate and form the government. To expect from them to say that, oh, we said 370, we have got 260 now, we will not form the government, I think we would be fooling ourselves. I don't see that possibility.
Yeah. Couple of last questions. You've become, in the last couple of weeks, the story yourself. It's been suggested that you're saying that Mr. Modi will win or the BJP will win because you're a BJP supporter or you're trying to curry favor with the BJP. Anybody who's watched this interview will say this is a strange way of currying favor. How do you respond to the fact that there's been so much speculation in social media about that?
Well, the problem with opposition is that anyone who tells them that what they lack or anyone who tries to tell them what is going to happen appears to them as the agent or sympathizer of BJP. As a professional, I could make a mistake in my assessment, and I'm happy to be proven wrong. But the fact of the matter is that since 2015, all the elections which BJP has lost in India, barring one or two exceptions, every other election that BJP has lost under Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah, no matter which party, which leader defeated them, in every election, one person who was common, who was advising those leaders or party was Prashant Kishor. So, I don't need any certificate from what I call these losers who have not done their hard work, they have not done their homework, and they expect me to come and say something which I do not see. If they win, I'll be very happy for them. But the fact of the matter is, they are not winning. And it's just a matter of 3-4 days. The world will see that whether I was saying something to, as they say, to make mahal of BJP, or I was telling the truth that you guys have not done your homework, you have not prepared well, you have been simply lazy, you have not been smart enough, you got caught into the propaganda of Mr. Modi, and hence you're going to lose. One more important point I would like to highlight using this opportunity, that I have not, I spoke to media before election started, I believe to PTI. And when I said that, most likely BJP is going to get the majority, a lot of my friends and well-wishers have said that, we know that you are saying the right thing, but please don't say this because this will demoralize opposition. Let them at least fight it. And I saw merit in it. And to tell you the truth, once the election started, till the fifth round, when the 80% election was over, I did not speak to media. But after 80% elections were over, and I saw what I think is going to happen, there is no way as a professional I would not say and express my view. And the proof of this would be probably be obvious on fourth, because the results, people should also analyze what happened in round 1, round 2, round 3, 4, and 5. So it's not that till round 5th they were losing and I made a statement and from 6th, 7th round the BJP has won. So we will see in 3 days time. My sense is opposition has been like the student who wakes up just before the election, reads some guest paper and tries to score 90%. They have not worked hard, they have not been diligent, and hence they are paying the price. But at the same time, I would say the individuals, the common citizens who are opposed to BJP, those who are opposed to this government, their leadership, their ideology, they need not give up their hope, because as you and I were just discussing, this country has seen governments with bigger majority. If as a people, as a concerned citizen, you have an issue, nobody can steamroll you. Please don't cow down. Please don't be steamrolled. Wake up, remain firm with your idea, your views, and stand up for yourself, stand up for your society. Whether opposition is strong or weak, that doesn't matter.
The view is you got annoyed when people said you got Himachal wrong, and the people have done updates in which you've predicted a route for the Congress in Himachal, and the view is you should just accept you got it wrong. Is that
No,
fair or unfair?
see, Bir, first of all, I'm not the one who ever claims that. If you hear my interviews, I always say calling elections is close to impossible, especially in a country like India. But as far as the controversy which you're talking about, the
Yeah.
tweet, when I was being interviewed by Karan, first of all, let me put on record, I have spoken to Karan not once, not twice, but 4 times. Total time, my interview time with Karan is 4 hours and 30 minutes. So it's not that I was talking to Karan for the first time. He mentioned about my prediction going wrong. To the best of my knowledge and understanding, twice I have made about the election outcome categorical prediction. I have done only twice. Once in Bengal on television, on camera, multiple channels. I said BJP is not getting 100. And second time when I was being interviewed by Navika Kumar in Times Now, she asked and she literally forced. If you watch the interview, I have been telling that I can't predict, but I said the 4 state elections In that, I said Congress could lose Chhattisgarh. I talked about Madhya Pradesh. I talked about Rajasthan. And in case of Telangana, I said BRS might pull it off, should pull it off. So if that is the mistake, 6 months before election, you can say that I made a mistake. As far as the tweet is concerned, please read the tweet. It is not about the election prediction. The tweet is about the Udaipur Sivir and what it does or would do to the Congress fortune in medium to long run. In there, definitely I have mentioned that the impending electoral rout in the two upcoming elections in Gujarat and Himachal, that was there 8 months down the line. But it's like today you're talking about BJP. And I'm saying that there will be more public unrest. But this I'm making in the context of not election. I'm making in the context of the larger debate we are having. So if you want tomorrow, if there is, say, 6 months, there is no agitation, you say, okay, you predicted that there will be a agitation. So to that extent, yes, if you want to hold me accountable, hold me accountable. I don't mind. Even if suppose I'm wrong, so what? I don't owe it to anybody. So if the incident that happened with Karan is not because he pointed that I have got an election prediction right or wrong. It's because I was saying something else, and he was using his own words, and he was he was forcing me literally to accept those words. And I give an example. Sorry about it. I'm using your time to explain what happened in that interview.
No,
For example, I told him multiple times that brand Modi has come down, and all analytics and data is showing that his popularity, and I underlined the word intensity of his support has gone down. Then he said that it means he is no longer respected. And I said, no, it is your interpretation. I'm saying that intensity of his support has gone down. Karan was saying that no, it means you are saying that he's no longer respected. Now, these kind of things is something which I was not comfortable. I don't mind if you call me that. In that interview also I have said to Karan that if you want to ask my opinion, you ask. You want to believe it, you believe it. You don't want to believe it, I have no quarrels with it. On 4th, people will see who got it right and who got it wrong.
Okay, we've got what? Just days to go, Prashant Kishor. Let's see if you got it right. And even if you got it wrong, let's do another conversation after the results and see where India is going. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Veer. Pleasure talking to you.